I have my thesis that we will see an omega candle, which is a $100,000 candle on the daily, which means Bitcoin would go tomorrow to 160,000.
And there you have it from Samson Mow. We'll get more from this before the video's out, so make sure you watch this one to the end. With that, what's happening, Crypto Crew? Sean's coming back at you. Before we get started, check us out at bitcoinbros101.com. We have learning for you. You have ebooks, crash courses. Join our premium Patreon pass if you want to be part of the Bitcoin Bros community. Getting straight to it, taking a look at the Bitcoin price chart at the current time of this recording. We're looking at Bitcoin coming in at $63,000. Now, what are we looking at on this chart and what we anticipate? Look here. We see a pattern that you cannot, I repeat, ignore. So what have we seen the past few cycles? We see 1, 2, 3 candles to the upside, and then a candle to the downside, 1 red candle. And then we see rinse, repeat, 1, 2, 3 to the upside, then bear market to the downside, 1, 2, 3 to the upside, bear market to the downside. Now, right now we're on this second candle. This is the 12-month chart. So next year we should get that last green candle before 2026 showing a red candle if the pattern holds. So look here, the second candle always gets higher than the red candle. Right here in 2018, the red candle closed around 13.4. This year closed above. And then look here where we are right now. The red candle, we are currently above. So when we know that we're going to close above the roughly $45,000 by year end. So year end's right around the corner. We got 1 quarter left. But the bigger question is, on average, let's not look at on average from the second to the third year, how much appreciation do we get? So we're going to not look at 2012, 2013. That could be an outlier, but let's just use this one here. We went up roughly, let's say 1,400% year over year. And then we had a reduction over the next year, 61%. So, a major reduction as far as this third year. If we do 61% from where we are right now, that would take us up to roughly a $102,000 Bitcoin price. So 6 figures is still in the card. Bitcoin dominance, something you need to pay attention to. When is the alt season going to officially be here? So the light blue lines detail out the Bitcoin halvings. We had one in 2016, 2020, and then 2024. But we have some boxes in the middle. We have green boxes and red boxes. So when we fall off this cliff, when the Bitcoin dominance starts to fall, it tends to happen in October. On clockwork, that's what's happened the past 2 cycles. So October 2016, a year later to October of 2017, we've seen a massive appreciation in the alt market or a depreciation in the Bitcoin dominance. And then it's smart to stay in Bitcoin for 1,096 days and then rotate back into alts for that year time frame, starting in October of the halving year, and then waiting 365 days, selling, holding Bitcoin, and we're still in this 1096 day window. When will this close? This actually closes October 1st. So we see October of this year. Could you diversify and go all into alts? Would this be a smart idea? The way charts are looking, we just had a rate cut. Right now, we are waiting to see this roll over. Everything is pointing towards an alt season. So yes, from October 24 to October 25, this chart could hold. You don't want to wait too long, but right now, next month could be that month to fully diversify. Major news, BNY Mellon is identified as the first bank to receive SEC exemption from SAB 121. What does this mean? On Monday, during a public hearing in Wyoming, BNY Mellon Bank was named as the bank that received an exemption of the SEC's onerous rules for custodying digital assets. This is the first major banking institution that has got the go ahead and green light from the SEC to custody digital assets. Why is this major? Because this is just the first domino. You'll get Chase, you'll get Bank of America, Citibank, Wells Fargo. Every major institution will eventually be able to hold Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And what does that mean? Over time, you could let them hold your crypto, potentially borrow against it. Are they going to give you some yield? There's a lot of different vehicles that could potentially come out of it. Mind you, not your keys, not your crypto, but if you want any real world application, the banks may be that intermediary. And this is a chart to pay attention to as well. Shout out to Rec Capital. Right now, he has this chart showing the halvings 2016, 2020, 2024. And around the halving, we have these pullbacks, these retracements. Every single time it happens without failure. And then afterwards, we have that rally to the upside, and we're still waiting on this rally going into 2025. But one thing to note, 518 days from the halving, this notes the peak. 518 days, even though this was a double peak, that denoted that retracement double peak. 548 days puts us out to where? Well, let's do the math. 548 days from April, that puts us in October of 2025. This coincides with the Bitcoin dominance chart that we showed you right here. 365 days after the 1096 Bitcoin dominance uptick is October of 2025. Look at the confluence. Without further ado, we're going to hear from Samson Mow and get his take on what he sees and what could be happening with Bitcoin in the market. Let's hear from Samson.
I have my thesis that we will see an Omega candle, which is a $100,000 candle on the daily, which means Bitcoin would go tomorrow to 160,000. And I just see all the macroeconomic factors pointing towards that happening. U.S. debt, I think that was the one we missed, but debt
was the one. I'm pretty sure.
U.S. debt is now $3 billion a day. Previously, it was $1 billion increase per day. And interest payments next year are likely going to top 1 trillion on a 36.7 trillion debt at that time. Who knows? But none of this is sustainable. And at the same time, you have strong Bitcoin fundamentals. You have strong corporate acquisition of Bitcoin by MicroStrategy, by Tether, and others. You have the ETFs, which are still accumulating. It's been flat for the last couple of days, but on net, they're always accumulating. And then you have this crushing debt that has to be dealt with. Either you rebase dollars to Satoshis or you default. There's no other way. There's no way to pay that debt. There's no way to grow out of that debt. So it just seems to be, the system seems to keep on rolling when we should see Bitcoin massively going into full bull market FOMO mode right now.
I want to talk about that full bull market FOMO mode. I know you made headlines earlier this year when you said that Bitcoin could reach $1 million this year, and if not this year, 2025. Do you still stand behind that?
I think so. The market's wrong. Like, Bitcoin is massively undervalued right now at whatever it is, 56,000-7,000 per coin. And again, reiterating what I'm saying, there is just so little Bitcoin out there. You can't double your holdings as a large entity at this point. So it's going to shoot up. The pressure has to be alleviated in other ways. So what I see right now is Bitcoin's like a beach ball, and we're pushing it underwater right now. And people are starting to get bored. Maybe it's intentional. Maybe it's paper Bitcoin, shorting Bitcoin and pushing the price down. But that is not sustainable simply because there's so much buy demand. Every quarter, Tether is going to be buying Bitcoin. Every couple months, MicroStrategy is buying, Semler is buying, and we're going to see more and more of that. One of the largest pension funds in the world in Korea is allocating to MicroStrategy now. So you can see the tide already turning. But just like in The Big Short, the market takes time to realize what's happening. It's always going to be the people that are paying attention to Bitcoin that see all these factors and are allocating to it. This is why Michael Saylor is going to try to buy as much as he can right now.